coming to you live from the Built Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti, it's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network. And wherever you are in the free Odyssey app. Good Tuesday morning. It was nice to see that Mets offense break out last night the way that they did down in Miami. Pete Alonso with the grand slam. Nimmo gets involved. Torrens gets involved. Starling Marte gets involved. And David Peterson, a guy who really turned it on last year, had a great outing as well. So this was a good one. This was a fun one. And we see the Yankees and the Torpedoes back in action a little bit later tonight. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, G. I'm doing great. And, yeah, it was great to see Pete Alonso do what he did last night. You got to wonder what Marlins manager Clayton McCullough was thinking about. And I love the discussion between Gary, Ron, and Keith, even though Gary missed a few plays in that inning.
Yes, I know.
I don't know what they were looking at. I don't know if they were outside the building when they were watching a game.
A couple real funny moments from the broadcast
Of course,
that we'll get to later.
Look, there's funny moments from the broadcast all
Every
the time.
night, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
we love it. But I love what I really do love when they get into these discussions about whether or not to leave, say, Cal Quantrill in the game for the Marlins. Mm-hmm. And then you realize that Clayton McCullough, he was the former first base coach for the Dodgers. So who did he work for? Dave Roberts. And what does Dave Roberts do? He's hooking guys left and right off the mound. But then you realize that the Marlins had two of their relievers down. Mm-hmm. So it creates a whole circumstance where the manager has to leave his starting pitcher in. Although guy's coming in anyway. He should have come in probably two batters prior to this.
Yes.
And he didn't do it. But again, it's a manager's decision. He's a rookie manager. He's sitting there. He's got all these different analytics going on, and he left them in. And I mean, Pete just hammers the hell out of the ball. So
yeah, that wasn't an excuse me right field swing.
Right, so,
that was a bomb.
It's the fourth game of the season, right? So,
yeah.
But again, it just goes to show you, like, the decisions that managers have to make during these games, and every decision that they make, and how many decisions do they make? Thousands.
Yeah, throughout the course of the season.
Exactly, and that was a major mistake. And then, of course, they yank him right after that. And they bring in the reliever who gives up a home run. So, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I just thought it was really interesting last night, and it was nice to see Pete, hit a home run and hit a grand slam at that. And, tonight we'll see, because I think they're going against Alcantara tonight.
Yes, they are. Yep.
And this guy is the real deal. He's one of the best top 5 pitchers in baseball.
Absolutely. He's given the Mets fits in the past, and I understand that this was the 4th game of the season, but it did feel like early on, and I understand we probably won't even remember this moment as the season goes on, all the other stuff happened, but it felt like a big moment for Pete that he needed last night to just get going, get it off his back. All the talk about giving Francisco Lindor Juan Soto protection as Lindor's not there with the paternity leave. Congratulations, Francisco and family, on their 3rd child. But giving Soto protection, and how Boris was using that against the Mets and all of this. And you're thinking, oh, man, as Pete's sitting there on deck as Juan Soto was striking out game 1. It was like this just was a really good thing to see early on, of those two guys working in tandem and having Pete getting the big home run. So hopefully it's one of many on his way to what you called a potential 50 home run season.
Well, I hope so, man. I think that, situations like this are going to arise over and over and over again.
They better.
And he's not going to come through every time, obviously, as we know. But last night was important to get off the schneid for him. But, the interesting thing is that, Juan Soto, 4 games, he's on base every game. He is an offensive powerhouse. So just as long as this continues, that's the kind of setup that I envisioned. And that's something that we talked about. I think that's something that most Met fans feel like is exactly what we want to see.
Yeah, I mean, this is when
everybody on base, bring up the polar bear and let him hit a home run.
Right. Don't want to pitch to Soto. Soto works a walk. Soto gets a single. Pete's up in a big spot. Pete hits the home run. And that was when Pete wasn't signed, and you were really adamant about bringing him back in and saying, you need to have him, you need to have him, you need to have him. You were thinking about moments like last night, and it's the first one of hopefully many, and it wasn't just Pete Alonso last night. I mean, Nimmo had a rough first series, and he hits the home run So it was good. It was great. Fun.
This kid Terens is on like a little bit of a run right now.
Did that ball go through the center fielder's glove? I think it went through it.
It's interesting. I could not tell if it went through it. I knew it went over. I don't know. I don't know what Gary, Keith, and they obviously weren't watching the monitors.
So here it is on CBS Sports Network.
Okay.
I think it goes through his glove. So he has it in the glove. I think it didn't hit the top. I think it went through because afterwards, if you look,
you better tie the strings.
Yeah, I know. He looked at his glove afterwards. He showed it. He showed it. It looked like there was a gap there.
It may have went through,
which is insane for that to
happen. You know what that is? That's a Met break. We got a break,
right? I mean,
we say we never get breaks. That's a break.
Let's see.
Yes, it did go through.
It goes through his glove.
It looks like it goes through, or maybe it just squirts through the end of his glove.
Yeah, but either way, I mean, that was wild last night. So, yeah, I mean, that's what you get. And, then, of course, the Yankees are off, and there's still controversy about this whole thing as Chisholm is now fighting with Dave Portnoy about the whole thing. It's awesome. I love it because –
This is not Yankee-like. Not Yankee-like.
That's why I love it, though.
I know, but this is like...
They need a little of this.
The Yankees are supposed to be like the Patriots. Don't get involved in this nonsense.
But
do what you got to do. Just keep doing it. Don't
But
touch
what do we
the money.
talk about with the Yankees all the time?
Well, I know
how boring they could be and stale.
Winning ain't boring, dude.
Exactly. But winning and then having something like this and having Jazz, who got off to a great start, fighting with Dave Portnoy is awesome.
Wait until it goes into a 2-week slump.
Well,
just don't touch the money. Just let everybody yap and yap and yap.
You're not touching the money.
They're not doing anything illegal. I mean, we talked about this incessantly yesterday. I don't even want to say the word today.
No, but it's
I
not.
am not saying
it's not
that
so
word.
much the. I don't care about the discussion about the bats.
Well, that's why they're arguing.
But I love the arguments. It's great. Watch sitting back because I think we had the same opinion. It's a silly conversation, whatever. So, but seeing Jazz Chisholm now get into it with Dave Portnoy, that's the entertainment to me.
Not Yankee-like.
Okay, good. You know what?
Not Yankee-like.
Not Yankee-like is fine with me because Yankee-like can be very stale, very, very boring, and we got some juice going on.
You know what? I love your sweatshirt today.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
I don't want one because I don't look good in white.
I can get you a different color. I think I have gotten you a different color in this particular
No,
thing.
you've given me the green sweater.
Okay.
You gave Jerry one of those.
You don't have one of these?
No, I don't, but I don't need another pullover. I don't need another.
Sure?
I'm just telling you, I love the way it looks.
No, it's great. It's the Rock Golf Club out in the North Fork, Wading River area.
Yeah,
and
but
it's,
I like the
shield.
sweatshirt.
It's a shield with the American flag on it. It is a tremendous logo. I got a bunch of their stuff.
You gave me the green sweater.
With the Rock on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the nice little.
Oh, that's right. But that's more than just that was like a real. That was
a cashmere
nice
sweater.
Yeah, it was cashmere.
Yeah, I know. Yes.
Yeah. You got the logo on it there.
I know.
You got the cashmere.
All right. So that's good news for the Mets.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that Jazz and Dave Portnoy are all fighting over this whole thing.
Great.
Meanwhile, all the Red Sox will be using these bats before you know it.
By the way, speaking of the Red Sox, we got to talk about this Devers thing. Is there a chance that he's actually throwing his at-bats in his games because he's this pissed off?
I don't know. Jonathan Papelbon said we have to take a look at how fat he is.
I mean,
essentially, he called him out. Papelbon's doing, they're nesting, I guess. And in the studio, he said, he's a little fat, looks a little chubby, or something along those lines.
Yeah,
it was not very nice, and he's making a lot of money up there.
Well, but this is nuts. So, I mean,
there's no way he's swinging hard at these balls.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, he's struck out 15 times already. I mean, he's like 0 for 18 with 0 for 19 with 15 strikeouts.
It's insane.
I mean, this guy's a good baseball player.
This is the most strikeouts through 5 games since 1901. Well, I remember. Do you remember that?
No. That list is the most strikeouts since 1901. So there's a whole bunch of them there. So 2018, 2020, 2021.
But that's a record. He's got a record.
Now he's got a record. Now he is at the top of that list.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean,
thank God there's no Met on that list.
You can't tell me that there isn't a connection between this guy who complained and publicly hated the fact after they signed Bregman that he was going to be the DH. He said, I'm the third baseman. They make him the DH no matter what. And they said, sorry, the promises that you were made, those people aren't here any longer. Then he blows up and he goes out there and he's striking out every single goddamn at-bat. I'm thinking He's either doing this on purpose to get out of there, or he's doing it on purpose to get his job back where he says, listen, I can't do this DH thing. I want to play third. You can't be that bad.
You know what? I think he's got to go to the eye doctor. Maybe there's something wrong with his eyes. There's something going on. I don't
what
think
about all these other years?
I personally
all of a sudden his vision went away?
Well, do you remember we were talking about this with Giancarlo Stanton?
Yeah.
We were saying how it seems like when he played left field, he was better as an overall baseball player because he was in the game.
Yeah.
And we felt like, put the guy out there. He's a great athlete. He's Adonis, for God's sake, and let him play the outfield and let him hit, let him be a part of the game. It's a baseball game. I mean, what are you going to do? Well, I mean, he's got a lot of soft tissue issues. I know that.
Plenty.
So maybe it's the same thing with Devers. Maybe he needs to be in the game on the field to feel like he's in the game. I mean, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do DHing. I couldn't. I need to be in the game, man.
You are in the game.
I know.
You could be in the game as much as you want. You could sit at the top step,
No, I don't want. I want to be on the field.
Get those sunflower seeds. Just spit in there. Let's go.
I want to be at the hot corner, baby. I want to be making plays. I want to be tossing the ball across the diamond.
But you're a team first guy, though. If the manager
too.
comes to you and says, "Hey, the best version of our team is you being a DH," you make the best out of it. Because that's what pros do. And I
think it was a panicky move by the Red Sox to sign Bregman in the first place. They had their third baseman. They didn't need another one. And now they bring in a Gold Glover whose defensive metrics are a tad better than Devers. And we figure it's just going to move Devers to DH. I mean, that sounds stupid to me.
Listen, I think that
stupid.
We have seen it in the NBA. We have seen guys completely just go off the deep end to get out of the team that they are on because they don't want to be there any longer. I believe that James Harden put on a fat suit in Houston to get out of there. He disappeared. He was partying in Vegas, all of these things. We haven't seen it in baseball. Maybe we're seeing it right now.
I don't, no way.
Maybe we're seeing it for the first time in 2025. Devers is like, hell, I see this happen all the time. I see people in the NFL now forcing trades.
That's a different, I am not buying into that.
How
you could
bad is he, though?
You could speculate all you want. I'm not
1901!
I am not buying into that.
The worst since 1901!
You're saying you are implying
yes, I am.
that he is doing this on purpose.
And
there is absolutely no way in hell.
Why not?
The guy, you know why? Because it's embarrassing.
Okay.
That's why.
But what was embarrassing to him.
There's a thing called personal pride.
I understand, but he got his pride knocked down, and now he's doing something to get out of there. Watch, they end up trading him because of this, and he goes and has, an MVP season. I mean, I don't think it's that crazy because it's not like
It's nuts.
I don't think it is. We've seen it in other sports. We saw it in the NBA. We see it in the NBA all the time.
I don't know Rafi Devers at all. I only know him from watching baseball games and knowing about his history and knowing how good he's been. And he's going through a massive slump, and I bet you it has to do with the fact that he's not on the field.
Exactly.
And but it's not on purpose.
Okay.
It's not on purpose.
You got to say there's at least a chance. I'm not saying it's 100% true. I just think there's at least a chance.
I'm not.
And that's out of respect to him because I can't imagine he would ever be this bad. As much of a good baseball player as he. I can't even imagine it.
You know what? These guys, the athletes, I mean, they need to be stimulated on the field. To me, he wants to be a total baseball player, not just a half-assed DH. You know what I'm saying? He wants to be out there, and he wants to be in the middle of the game, and he wants to play.
Hey, listen, man.
And I believe if they put him out there and they let him play, all this nonsense would stop. That's what I would say.
Yeah, well, they're not going to do that, though, because, when they signed Bregman and gave him all that money,
Well, the guys that you had this agreement with aren't here any longer. Yeah, well, okay, great. Then trade me then.
See, you're slowly...
No, I'm not saying he's doing it on purpose. I'm just saying, if I got a promise from the people that were here before, that's why I signed here. You got rid of those guys, and now you bring new guys in, and you want to do something completely different. Now, why you're moving me, and it's obviously affecting his play. He's not doing it on purpose.
There's a chance.
No.
There is a chance.
Not,
a small
not,
chance.
Not a chance in hell.
There's a chance.
No.
There's just too many things
He
up.
does not want to be on that list. Does not want to be on SportsCenter. Does not want to be.
He wants out of there. That's the biggest thing.
On the MLB app, he doesn't want to be on any of that crap.
He wants out of there, so he'll do whatever it takes.
I'm not saying he doesn't want out of there, but I'm telling you, he is not.
He porked up.
Porked up. Well, according to Jonathan Papelbon, who would know better than I would, yes, that's exactly what he said.
As soon as he found out Bregman was signed, he's like, all right, I'm going mission trade me. If you're going to keep him at third base, I'm going mission get me out of here.
That's not what he said.
He porked up.
I read everything that he said coming out of spring training.
Pork up spot.
I had a good conversation with the powers that be. We talked about everything. I have a total understanding now. This is what I'm doing. He just may be one of these players that has to play the field as well as hit. Not just sit on his ass. And maybe that's why he's porking up. Because he's sitting on his ass. He's not out there doing what he normally does.
Came in, porked up, throwing games.
Sucks, man. It really does suck. There's nothing worse than when you go through a coaching change, like the Jets are going through right now.
Yeah.
And the previous regime sees you as a certain type of player.
Yeah, but the manager was there. The same manager was there. That's the thing I don't like about this.
Then the new guy comes in, and all of a sudden you're doing something different than you were doing before, where you were having success. Because he wants you to do what he wants you to do, because this is his scheme, this is his system, and this move to DH, I'm assuming by Devers. I don't know this for a fact, but some slap analytics guy said, "Hey, we could get Bregman, who's defensive metrics are a little bit better than this guy, and we can move him to DH." I mean, you're dealing with human beings here. You're not dealing with chess pieces.
Yeah,
unless you give them one of those special bats. And then you see what happens.
Boomer and Gio on the fan. It's CBS Sports Network.
Jesus, we're off and running.
That's right, porking up.
Good news for Yankee fans, so very good news for Yankee fans.
And there's the Open again. Do we have to do it all over again, Eddie? Is that what we need to do? Is that what you're implying? To do the whole thing all over again? We just did 16 minutes, for God's sake. 17 now. Boomer and Gio on the fan and CBS Sports
Let's do 20.
Network.
Let's do 25.
Just go all the way through, no commercials.
Either that or just go all the way through, then play the commercials like the last 40 minutes. And then we can get out early.
Remember they did a 24-hour show? Mike and Chris did 24 hours straight?
Yeah, I was a part of that.
Oh, God. You were up the whole 24 hours?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.